Alright everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel. In this video, I'm going to be predicting who is going to win the playoffs at Wembley. Who's going to make it. We're going to kick things off with Middlesbrough, but before I do us a favour, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much appreciated. See if we can get 55 likes on this video. Right, so Middlesbrough and Coventry. Funny enough, that was the last game of the season. It was on as even in a 1-1 draw. Middlesbrough dominated that game. They had much more possession, 74% possession, but they did rest a lot of first-teamers as well, so they probably should have went on and won that game. And anyway, a point was enough for Coventry. That sees them in 5th. In the other game, though, at Coventry, Jacques scored, and it was only 1-0, a narrow victory. But that was a different team under Michael Carrick back then. They started the season off very slow. They did gradually start to put points on the board and build momentum, and they ploughed their way up in the Madness top 6, finishing in 4th, which is decent. That's really good. Under Michael Carrick, he's done wonders for them. Ackland on 28 goals this season, which is outstanding. You've got Archer, very good player. Ryan Giles also. They're going to be a big threat. But Coventry as well, for me, I wanted to avoid Coventry. I think if we can get to Wembley, we'll be strong at Wembley. But if we can avoid Coventry, we've got a bigger and better chance, I think. But in any way, moving back on to Middlesbrough versus Coventry. Coventry also started the season off very slow. But I think that was down to the fact that they had plenty of games in hand. They couldn't play games because of the pitch. So it looked like they were down the bottom of the table. But once they start playing games, they did make their way back up the table and obviously finishing in the top 6. They have been very strong. They've got some outstanding players as well. Hammer as well is one of them. But looking at the last 10 games in form-wise, it's so hard to get an understanding of how they be when it comes to the playoffs, just because of the last 10 games, because Middlesbrough did finish quite a while ago. They made the top 6 quite a while ago, so they were resting key players, and you know they did take the foot off the gas a little bit, and that you can see that in the form. As the overall form, they finished 10th. The home form was decent. They finished 3rd for home form at the end of the season, but the away form wasn't that good. It was 9th. Looking at Coventry in the last 10, they are overall 7th. The home form was 6th and the away form was 7th, so can't really take much away from that either. But looking at it, I still think this is going to be a very hard game for both teams, and the first game at the Riverside is going to be 0-0. Then looking at the second leg, I really do think Coventry ended the season quite strongly, and I think they're going to be too much for Middlesbrough. Listen, now when you end the season, you want to end it on a high. You didn't want to be losing games. I know certain players were rested and things like that, but you didn't want to be losing games. And I think apart from the draw, what they've got with Coventry, they lost the 2 previous to that. So will that have got in the players' heads a little bit? Who knows? But anyway, I've gone for Coventry to get into the final, winning 1-0 the second leg. So moving on to Sunderland versus Luton in the first leg. Right, I'll start things off with Luton. They sort of went under the radar this season. A lot of people were speaking about Middlesbrough catching Sheffield United for that second spot, but they fell away. And Luton just continued to plough on and put points on the board, and they finished in 3rd, which is outstanding. They've got some really good players. Obviously, Morris is the goal scorer for them. They didn't score many, but he's got 20 goals for them this season. Other than that, Adebayo's got 7, and then I think Campbell's got 3. So they didn't score many goals, but the thing is, why they find themselves where they are is because they're solid at the back. They didn't concede many. They might nick a game, the odd 1-0 here, there, and everywhere, but they didn't concede many. In the last game at the Sol with Luton, where it finished in a 1-1 draw, Amad Diallo getting a very late penalty in the 86th minute to earn us a point in that game. The game at their place, believe it or not, was a 1-1 draw. In fact, the last 4 games we've played Luton, they've all been 1-1 draws. But looking at the form table, Sunderland in the last 10, the overall sees them 4th, which is very decent. The home form, though, it's incredible where we finished, because considering our home form, we finished 16th, which is very, very poor. We need to improve that next season, regardless of what league we're in. The away form, though, was outstanding. Teams that win the league, the away form is just like ours, but the home form is not. We finished 4th for away form. So Luton overall then, their last 10 games sees them 5th. The home form, a bit like us, isn't the best. 9th, and their away form is much better, just like us, sees them 2nd, believe it or not, 2nd. Listen, like I was saying earlier, Luton have scored only 55 goals, but they've only conceded 39, which is outstanding. Sunderland have scored more goals, scored 68, but we've also conceded a hell of a lot more. We've conceded 57 goals this season. With all that being said, I'm not going to make any sense here now, as Luton's away form's class, our home forms isn't the best. I've gone for a Sunderland 2-0 win. I've got to win this one. In the second leg, we've obviously want to win the first leg. I think Luton will toss the kitchen sink at us, but nonetheless, our attack, our front three, what they're capable of, the type of goals they're scoring from right outside the box. Practically every goal against Preston North End was outside the box. Amad Diallo's was unbelievable. I still think we'll counter them and win 1-0, going into Wembley against Coventry. So that's who I think they'll get in the final. It'll be Sunderland versus Coventry. A little bit of bad blood there, but gone back years it was that, the bad blood between the two clubs. But the reason why I think Sunderland will win at Wembley 2-1, I'm going to go for, is because we've got history at Wembley. We've recently just got promoted through the playoffs via Wembley. We handled the pressure on a big stage, and there was absolutely any amount of Sunderland supporters down there, and the lads coped. The lads this season have done outstanding, and they've been so strong for a very inexperienced squad, and they're a joy to watch. So for me, I'm going to go for Sunderland win. I think we will get promoted now. I think we will win the playoffs. So that's it for me. Comment below what you think's going to happen. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. See us in our match preview tomorrow.